everyone, Sophia here, My Great Challenge. Welcome back to my Etsy shop, Frenchy and Tubby. I am going to feature 7 items going into the shop, brand new for you, Friday, October 4th at 5 p.m. So I have some really nice things today. I say that all the time. I think I say that all the time, but lately my sourcing items has been quite lucky. Like, I'm just gonna say I've been lucky because I don't know, maybe it's me showing up at the right time, but I found some really neat things, and some of them, no lie, I would keep. But you know that it's the same story all the time. I would keep everything, but the one in the thumbnail I would totally keep. This thing. Okay, what is this? All right, so I did a little bit of research because it was not easy to figure out. All right, why? Because it's a Chinese logo at the bottom. So I had to get the translator and find out exactly who makes it when. Okay, let's start with the appearance and what it is. It's a ceramic box. It's quite big actually, and you can use it as a planter if you remove the top. Okay, so you use it as a planter. It's got a crackle finish. You can see it here. I am, savvy enough to know that this is a reproduction. I am not looking at a piece of Chinoiserie ceramic from the 18th century. I know that, okay? Come on now. we're not going to find that at Goodwill. Well, you never know, but this is a reproduction, I know that. So it's a Chinoiserie box that is meant to reproduce the type of items that you would have seen in late 18th century, early 19th century, as part of Chinese export when Chinoiserie was really big. And a lot of them came here to the United States. A lot of it was in England. A lot of it was in France. But there was a big push or a big trend of Chinoiserie here in the United States. So it's got a bird foliage. The top part is quite interesting because it has a bamboo handle. You can see it in pink, which kind of echoes some of the pink that's in there. But for the most part, they're more like fall colors. And it has some gold accent. Not a lot, but a little bit. There's a line here and there, a little bit of fading. I mean, it's a little bit old, not super old, but a little bit old. And it's on lion feet. Okay, so good reproduction. Number 2. So that's the appearance. Number 2, the quality. Very good quality. So there's a lot of reproductions of things out there, and then you get companies who did the look. We're gonna say they have the let's say the Chimu version. The look is there, the quality is not. This has the look and it has the quality. It's a very well made piece. It's heavy ceramic, very heavy. I don't have my scale with me, but I'm pretty sure it's over 3 pounds, if not more. It's got birds, butterfly, dragonfly on it. It's a really, really heavy piece, but it's well made. And what they did was add, that's how they do it. They have a special glaze that cracks, and then they put that ink on it, or that paint that fills up the cracks, and it gives you that crackle effect. That's how they give it this antique look. Okay, so I did a little bit of research, and there was 2 companies that really specialize into making high quality reproductions of existing pieces, or reproduction of style of existing pieces. One of them was Wong Lee, who started in 1995. And Wong Lee actually made some of those, the exact same box. But it signed Wong Lee underneath it. And what they did was sign it Wong Lee, WL, 1895. They did it for the anniversary of the peace treaty between Japan and China. But it would be signed Wong Lee. And that was 1995. They put the 1895 as a commemorative piece for all the pieces that they did in the beginning of the 1990s and late 1990s. And then there was another company that was much before them. I'm going to try to pronounce them. If you speak Chinese or are Chinese, please forgive me. It's very difficult. Huaping Tang Ji. That's their signature. So when was this made? Once you know that. This was made in the 70s. This is a 1970s reproduction of a 18th century trinket box. High quality reproduction. It is stunning. It is absolutely beautiful. It's good craftsmanship. It's hand painted. It's got all the bells and whistles. Let me give you proper close-ups. Birds, butterfly, crickets. We have dragonfly right here. It's the same bird on the other side. And then again, you can see the lid. And I don't know if the gold accent is going to show on camera. I'm hoping that it will on pictures. So this is what this box is. Kind of rare. You're going to see them if you look online, and every single one of them is going to be already sold. You're not going to find it available. So they go quite fast because Chinoiserie is a timeless decorative style and design. It looks fabulous with antique furnishing. It looks fabulous with any kind of traditional or classic look, and you can still bring it into current designs because it is a classic form. It never goes out of trend. That sounded like a good pitch, didn't it? Anyway, it's nice, okay? It's so nice. I want to keep it. It would look phenomenal on my secretary desk. You know, my drop-down secretary. Don't you think? If you have one of those secretary desks, it'd look beautiful. So what do you do with it? Well, it's a trinket box. You can keep letters. You can keep whatever you want. It's beautiful. A Huaping Tang Ji reproduction of an 18th century trinket box from the 70s. So it's my age, all right? It's about 50 years old. That was item number 1. Whew, that was a mouthful and hard to pronounce. It's beautiful. When I come back, item number 2. Okay, item number 2. I gave you a preview last week. I have 2 of those. They're so beautiful. Okay, what are those? Okay, these are the original 1941 American Beauty teacups by Royal Albert. And they are glorious. Absolutely glorious. Look at these teacups. So American Beauty, they have continued that pattern. I think all the way, I keep on going like this because I need to make sure I'm in focus. I think they kept it going up until the 90s. But if you look at the history of that pattern, you'll see that they changed it a little bit over the years. And in particular, it's very obvious with the shape and the design of the teacups. This is the original 1941 teacup design. And it says underneath, American Beauty, Royal Albert, Crown China, England. So what do we have here? We have, I'm going to start with the saucer. Beautiful. We have stunning roses. So there's a dark pink, I'm not going to call this red, a dark pink heirloom rose and a light pink, and then kind of like a medium one on the other side with typical gold around it. Let me show you. Royal Albert, American Beauty. Okay, and let's go into the this is so delicate, this nicely fooded teacup. Look at this beautiful handle here, right? And then the gold, you'll see it is kind of like a sponge work. Let me see if I can show you. Do you see that? Okay, so it's not like a clean line. There's the rim, and then it's kind of like dabbled around it. And then the design is repeated on the inside of the cup. This is lovely. So elegant. Absolutely lovely. It's the same design, the 2 rows on one side and 1 row on the other side, with that sponge work. Do you see that? Okay. And it has 1 stripe right here and another 1 accent here. Same thing. They are beautiful. Okay. I have 2. One of them has a little bit, tiny bit. I'm going to show you. In the interest of being transparent, I don't even think it shows. Little bit of discoloration at the bottom. Okay, so that one was well loved and used. The other one, not so much. So grandma obviously used this one for her tea. Is there more discoloration or fading on the gold? Not really. So perhaps what happened is that somebody did not finish their tea and the tea stayed in the cup a little bit too long. So it stained the bottom. I am not going to try to remove that stain because what if I damage it? Then I can't sell it and then you can't have it. It's gorgeous. So I have 2. Most times when I find teacups, I only find 1. And I know I have teacup collectors. I have never found vintage teacups in pairs. I would totally keep those. They are so elegant, so feminine, so pretty. I love that the design is on the inside of the cup. They are the very first batch of American Beauty when the pattern came out. So the original, okay? American Beauty by Royal Albert, China. Okay, moving on. All right, let's stay in England. We're going to be in England a lot today. My collectors, I know you want it. Okay, what is it? Well, it's a king size, I believe. Egg cuddler. I have never seen this pattern before. It's called a skippity tail. So it's got the characters. We got hedgehog, pair of hedgehog. We got bees, we got the rabbit, butterfly, little country mouse, 2 of them. Okay, it's porcelain with this stainless steel top. This one's interesting because it has the rubber on the outside. Usually they don't. So it's got the rubber and the stainless steel. Porcelain by Royal Worcester. I pronounced it right. I hope. Royal Worcester. It's from 1970. It says at the bottom, not 70s, 1970. So this darling little cuddler right here is the collector edition that Royal Worcester did for the year 1970. It is 54-year-old. How about that? Again, they're porcelain, so for those of you who don't know and have never watched my videos and I've never seen these things, what on earth is an egg cuddler? It's a British thing that didn't make it across the pond. It really didn't. So basically what you do is that you boil a pot of water, and then you take your cuddler. It's a way of eating eggs, like poached eggs basically. You're going to put butter around it, okay? And then you take one egg, you either scramble it or whatever. Put your salt and pepper, herbs if you want, and you put it in there. Okay, so you have your egg. And then you close, right? So you have your egg in there, and then you have your boiling pot of water. And then you're just going to drop this in your water. And then depending on how long and how much you want your egg to cook, you're going to leave it in there. And then when you're done, or when you think you're done, depending on, again, how much you want your egg cooked, you're going to pull that out, and you're going to serve it like this. It's already ready to be served in a beautiful presentation cuddler. So your guest or yourself just open it, and you're going to, if you want, put salt, pepper, whatever. You have your little pieces of toast. You can dunk it or take a spoon and eat it. That's what an egg cuddler is for. It is a much more elegant way of eating eggs in the morning than just having a pile of scrambled eggs on your plate. So sophisticated, so elegant. So I'm assuming that the skippity tail was one they did for children, and it says on it, England, oven to tableware, dishwasher proof, 1970, Royal Worcester, a skippity tail. Let me show you the pattern in close up. Okay, come on, stay in close up. How darling is this? I've never seen this pattern before. I've seen a lot of floral, a lot of fruits, some geometric, but I have never seen this one before. 1970, in perfect condition. Before we go back to England, let's do a little bit of Japan. Otagiri, you know I love Otagiri, right? Stoneware, they were really big in the 60s and the 70s. They imported a lot of stoneware in the United States. You can't identify an Otagiri mug because they have a signature look. It's a gray with a brown splatter. Gray, brown splatter. So these have a flower, and it's hand painted. It's a navy blue flower with some foliage, and the way they fired it, again, it's got a little bit of that bronze burnish finish. So it's a big flower on one side, and then on the other side it's a smaller one, and they're identical, and there's an accent bronze burnish here on the rim, nothing at the bottom, because Otagiri used stickers. So the sticker is long gone. I have two of those. When were they made? 1960s. Late 60s. How cool are these? I love it when I find mugs and I get more than one. Especially mugs like this, because the design mugs, you want to have two. Really neat. It's got a little bit of an indentation, a little bit of a relief feel to it, and the design goes all the way to the rim. They're beautiful. I love their stuff. Highly collectible. There's a lot of people who are into Otagiri. They try to collect all their design, which is impossible because they did so many of them. But they do tend to have the same look. So when you have 1, 2, 3, they kind of mix and match very well, especially if they're from the same era, you know, like from the same decade, for instance. They're all going to have the same look or same colors, so they'll coordinate very well. Otagiri, 2 coffee mugs. Okay, the next one I'm keeping the best for last, okay? The next one is another one of those little tiny little guys. Oh man, this is so cute. Okay, you remember I had one a couple of weeks ago, and it flew off the shelf that very same day. And it's a cranberry glass by Pilgrim. And we learned when I was doing the presentation that Pilgrim glass was the #1 maker of cranberry glass in the world. And their specialty in the shop, when they had the shop was still running, was to make creamers like this. And over the years they did so many different designs. They had creamers like this with the plain handle, which is the basic creamer, or they had a creamer with an optic swirl, and maybe they had a design on the handle, or they had the optic swirl, no design, or they had design on the handle but no optic swirl. Different variation of the same creamer. And this is the classic hand blown glass creamer by Pilgrim glass. It's a tiny little thing, but it is so pretty. And you can see right here, I'll say it again, I forgot the name, where they cut the molten glass after they shaped it. And I think that it's before they add the handle. It's so cute. So this one is not as red as the other one. It's more of a pink, dark pink color, but it's really nice. It's got a few bubbles here and there, which, you know, expected. It's hand blown glass. You're gonna see things like this, but it's got a gradient. I don't know if you can see. Well, it's getting a little bit more intense, and the glass is not as pooled at the bottom, so there's more of that cranberry color at the bottom. It's a very pretty one. Okay, they're not expensive. They weren't super expensive when people were buying them back then, and they're still not expensive now, but they become collectibles because the factory closed, and they don't make them anymore. It's a shame. So if you have one of those at home, hang on to it, because the factory closed and they don't make them anymore. Or if anybody makes them, it's coming from overseas. American made cranberry glass by Pilgrim glass. Little creamer. Okay, when I come back, 2 more. This one item, this is for the kitsch lovers. This is for those who like the unusual item, the conversation pieces, the stuff that you don't see anywhere else. This is by far one of the coolest, most kitsch, most unpredictable item I've ever had in the shop. What is it? It's a souvenir from Florida. Not any souvenir from Florida. It's an alligator ashtray. Look at this thing. It's from the 60s. You don't have to use it as an ashtray. I know nobody smokes anymore. It's fabulous. It's got the most amazing drip glaze on it. Red, yellow, green, back to yellow. Okay, so the cigarette would go here. All right, but you can use it for jewelry. But look. It's got an alligator on it. Where else are you going to find something like this? So it used to be a souvenir from Florida. Matter of fact, it used to have a sticker. It used to say Florida right here. Mine was really damaged. You could barely see it, so I removed it. It's got a hole right here. That's the vent pipe. But to be honest, you could use it to stash stuff. I'm not going to give anybody any idea. I'm just saying. Look at this. How cool is that? This is so kitsch, so unusual, and it's a very well made piece. See, the tourist stuff now, they don't make stuff like this anymore, or if they do, it's garbage. It's poorly made. None of it is made with the craftsmanship that this has. It's so cool. It's an alligator. And it's in perfect condition. There's not a chip, nothing. It's ready for you to do whatever you want with it. You can, I'm telling you, you can put jewelry, you can put it on your desk, put your clips, you know, your paper clips, whatever on it. How cool is this? And I love the glaze. The glaze is awesome. So it's pottery, but it's alligator. It's so cool. I love this. Now, I know people smoke still. There may not be, you know, a lot of them, but I know there's people who collect ashtrays. I know there's people who collect souvenir stuff, unusual things. So there's definitely a market for this. And then I got folks in Florida. And then some of you may remember a piece like this that your own parents brought back from a trip to Florida back in the 60s. And you want it back. Well, I have it, okay? Alligator ashtray. There's the bottom. It's in superb condition. Man, it's so cool. Last piece. Two things. This was very hard to identify, and it's also very hard to let it go, and it's very hard for me to sell it because it is damaged, slightly damaged. But because it's rare and because I know that it's collectors, I figured, you know what, let's put it out there. It's this thing right here. What is this? Okay. So let's start just like the first item. We're going to just do a tour. Okay. What is it? It's slag glass. Slag glass is basically different glasses that they put together and then they mold it together. And when you press it into a mold, you end up having this marble effect. So for this one, they have a dark blue, a light blue, a white. So they have this marbleized effect. Actually, back in the day, this particular color in blue, or when they had it in green, they used to call it malachite, just like the precious stone or semi-precious stone. So they used to call it malachite glass. So this is an example of malachite glass. Slag malachite glass. What is it? It's a basket. Okay. It's pressed glass. So it's got like kind of like a hobnail, and then because it's a basket, it's got a little bit of a weave, and then you see the two little handle here which survived. It's amazing. Okay. And it's not big. Okay, it's a little, it's like the size of a teacup. So what did people do with this? So, it was just like a trinket thing. Okay, but when you look at it in the light, and I don't know if you can see, there's part of it that's transparent, part of it that's opaque. That's what's really cool about it, because there's different glass in it. All right, so who made this? This was made by Sowerby. Sowerby was the British company, England, northeast England, and they were in operation from 1805 all the way up to 1975 is when they closed. And I searched and searched and searched, and I found out that this particular, and they didn't stamp the stuff, I found out that this particular piece was made in 1882. This is a Victorian slag glass basket by Sowerby, England. So it's obviously antique, it's old, it's got everything you want in terms of collectible glass, in particular the slag glass, but it's not in the best of shape. And this is where it's tugging at me, because you know that I like to put in the shop things that are perfect, but this is different because of its age and because of what it is. We're going to understand that, well, it's not going to be perfect. So let's start with the most obvious. There's a chip right here. I think you can see it. All right. It's not super obvious when you look at it because of the slag glass itself, the way the pattern is. And then there's another chip which you absolutely can't see, is because it's at the bottom right here. Maybe you can see it here. Okay, so the most problematic one is the one that's on the top. It's not the kind of chip, you see me putting my finger, it's not, you're not gonna hurt yourself on it or anything, but it's there. So things you could do, maybe you can file it. Do I want to bother with that? No. It's not that big of a deal to me. It just is there. Let me see if you can. Do you see the indentation from it? Okay, it's not huge, but it's there. Okay, it's from 1882. It's a miracle it even made it. Okay, considering its size, I'm very amazed, to be honest, that the handles are there. You would think the handles would be the ones that would go first. Not even, there's no repair on the handle, nothing. The handles never were damaged. I find that amazing. It's just that little piece right here that got a chip. And then the one at the bottom, which, you know, somebody probably was a little bit rough when he put it down. Are they fragile? Well, yeah, it's glass. So, you know, anyway. I'm struggling to let it go because it's beautiful, because it's old. You know me, if it's old, okay? And it's, I feel like this is a something. It's a known pressed glass company from England. It's very unusual. It's very unusual. I've never seen anything like this before. When I picked it up, I was just like, wow, what is this? And not a lot of people have it either. Matter of fact, you're not going to find it. It's stunning. So I'm going to put it in the shop. Is it expensive? It's all relative. I will take into consideration the fact that it has a chip, okay? But it's antique, it's 1882, and it's slag glass, malachite slag glass, which is highly collectible. So that's my last piece. My 7 items. Tell me down below which one is your favorite. Which one's my favorite? The teacups. And this one. The teacups and this. If I had to pick just one, probably this, because the teacups I can get again, but this, I don't think I'll ever come across another one of those. Anyway, thumbs up if you liked this video and the items in the video. And again, all these items will be live in the shop Friday, October 4th at 5 p.m. Now, when you, again, I have to say it again because it's a reminder with Etsy. Etsy is very weird. This is not me, it's Etsy. When I post them, they actually get posted. I hit the button before 5. I hit the button somewhere around 4:59. Okay. But what happens with Etsy is that they do not upload their page right away. The items will not be on the main page at 5. They will be in the individual categories. So if you see this and you like this and you want this, don't reload the front page on Etsy over and over again because you're not going to see it right away. At 5 p.m. this will be in antique items. So just go in the category and go to antiques and not vintage glass, antique items, because that's an antique, and you'll find it there. These will be in vintage mugs. This one will be in collectible glass. This will be in vintage kitchen. This will be in collector's corner. This will be in vintage decorative items. And the teacups will be in teacups and teapots. So you go directly to the categories. That's how you find the items right away. Don't wait for the page. There's been times where the page uploaded right away, and then there's been times where it takes 10 minutes. So during those 10 minutes, items fly off the shelf, and you contact me and you're like, Sophia, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay, antiques, vintage, decorative items, go straight to the category. I will see you probably next week with 7 more items. Thank you for watching. Bye.